Good morning. Today we are presenting to you our case competition answer to the Little Island Coconut Creamery case competition, presented by myself, Jonathan Tarr, and Benji Flacks. On to the case question. Today we believed and interpreted the case question to be, how can the Little Island Coconut Creamery reach $30 million in revenue by 2020? So the size of the prize is that we believe in 2020, Little Island Coconut Creamery is able to increase its revenue from $5 million to $30 million. Now that might seem like a very high goal to reach, but we believe that through our strategies, we can reach that. So, what are the proposed strategies? We believe that by penetrating the United States market, which is very big, through supermarkets and hotels, gaining celebrity endorsements, which is a cheaper way to effectively market your product, and also by approaching respected companies such as Google with trial programs in order to really boost the amount of revenue and publicity that the product gets. Little Island Coconut Creamery can increase its revenue while effectively maintaining its ethical image. Firstly, onto the key issue of market saturation. As we saw in the document given, with the Island Creamery, they already produce and sell to the majority of New Zealand supermarkets. This is 80% of New Worlds and Pack and Saves and about 50% of Countdowns, as well as about 400 cafes with their Nice Blocks program. The company currently has little capacity to expand within the small economy of New Zealand. As you can see on the graph, this is what happens when we start to get to a point where the market gets saturated. The impact of this is that the capacity to grow within New Zealand has severely been limited. This means that the current products that are being sold, there's a diminishing space which can grow, and therefore the Coconut Creamery needs to find places where they're actually able to expand, increase revenue, and grow their brand. On to the second key issue, the competitive substitute companies. Now, there are actually many of these types of niche companies within New Zealand. Some of the competitors, one of the main ones being the Lewis Road Creamery, as well as Kapiti Ice Creams, etc., have ran very successful campaigns in the past, such as the Lewis Road Creamery purposely limiting supply and creating massive hype around the brand. What does this mean? Along with other non-dairy products, such as almond milk and soy milk, etc., there are many alternatives that consumers can choose instead of the Island Coconut Creamery products. Therefore, the impact of this is that the Coconut Creamery really needs to find a position in the market where they're able to get consistent buyers. New fad companies can come and go, but without the shout required and without the brain sustention that we have, we're not able to keep that niche market and the high price point. The third key issue is onto distribution. Now, as said in the document before, the distribution takes about 25% of the cut when specifically selling Nice Blocks and the ice cream tubs provided. This takes away a lot of the margin, of the profit margin from selling these products. And therefore, we need to find a way in which distribution can be more effective, possibly just by increasing the amount sold and increasing the economies of scale within the company. Now, so what is our main strategy? Our strategy is through two main arms. The first one is through celebrity endorsements and through going through well-regarded companies. And the second one is through sales channels such as US hotels and US supermarkets and grocers. Now on to the implementation.
Okay, so in terms of the marketing side of the implementation, we've got two main programs, followed by two sort of slightly lesser points to take note of. The first is celebrity endorsement. This would largely take place over social media, as it's cheaper than other methods of advertisement and more realistic for small companies like Little Island. We would recommend discussing this with Lord, as she's an icon that would appeal to the New Zealand youth for Nice Blocks range, and is an international New Zealand name, which would benefit awareness in the US. And then to continue, we need to also continue your social media campaign. With over 13,000 combined likes on both your Facebook pages, it would definitely pay to continue advertising through this medium. It's cheap, reaches out to the youth, and as well as international recognition in the US when expansion there commences. We also need to capitalize on the New Zealand brand. New Zealand is lucky in the sense that we have a very strong natural and fresh image worldwide. Capitalizing on this would mean that we could increase sales and increase our image in other markets in the US and other international endeavors. And the final one is to promote through well-regarded companies. Here our idea would be to open negotiations with large companies such as Facebook and Google and offer supplies offer drinks to their employees at wholesale rates. This would raise recognition of our brand in the US especially, where Google and Facebook are very prominent companies, without incurring significant costs because we'd be selling them at wholesale costs. And now we'll look at the sales channels which we'll have. So the first one is supermarkets and grocers across the US. Our criteria for retail selection would be that they share similar values such as organic, artificial, preservative-free. There'd be little to no other competition in our niche. And we would begin to sell in the West Coast, so California and places like Washington State, so as to minimize distribution costs, as it's easier to get there than to the East Coast and the Midwest. A possible retailer which we found is a place called John's Marketplace. They have 15 stores across California, and I believe that this is a realistic starting point for Little Island, as it's not too big and won't have as many competitors in their range. The stores are also spread across the state, and which means that brand recognition will not be limited to just New York, to just Los Angeles, San Diego, or some other large city. In terms of long-term possibilities, we have two. Trader Joe's, which is a national brand, which is largely focused in California, so that'd be a good jumping-off point after John's Marketplace. And then afterwards would be Whole Foods. Whole Foods is a large organic brand. They have stores across the United States. Also note the projections of when we'd be able to start selling to them. Our next one is sales channels. Our sales channels to hotels and resorts. Criteria for selection here would be premium or premium and high-end resorts, so as to sell to our true market segment, the premium brand. We also want more summer and tropical-based hotels and based around California to reduce distribution costs. A possible hotel chain here would be the Viceroy Hotel Group. They're a premium luxury hotel chain, and they have many locations in California mostly, and largely tropical international resorts in the Caribbean. This would be possible. This would be a place for possible expansion in the future.
We now have a few market projections for our revenue over the next 5 years. It's clear that we've reached market capacity in New Zealand, with our market share being a large 11%. However, the market size at $45 million is fairly small. You see an immediate increase in 2017 when we expand to the USA. And while our market share will greatly diminish, our revenue will more than double to $12 million. This figure should steadily increase over the next 3 years as we get larger brand exposure and our market opportunities increase through going into different streams of revenue. What's our justification behind this? So the size of the dairy market has jumped incredibly high, over 155% from 2011 to 2013 in the United Kingdom. This figure has steadily increased to around 289 million litres in 2016. Translated to the USA, this amounts to approximately 1.7 billion litres at an average of $4 per litre, a massive market size. So, our market size is therefore based off a conservative estimation of what these markets are currently interested in buying and in terms of coconut milk and premium dairy-free milk. Furthermore, we've factored in the current market size for minibar sales within California, which is where we're first starting to target our sales into these hotels and resorts. However, this still leaves room for the likes of impulse buys, especially for our flavoured milk, meaning the actual figures could indeed be significantly higher.
In conclusion, we believe that by selling the Little Island Coconut Creamery products abroad, we're able to maintain their ethical image, but also go through interesting marketing strategies and go through sales channels which haven't been used before to maximize their revenue and really get their product out there. Thank you.